you know just as well as I do, just being involved in this community is rewarding.
Yeah.
But also just it's fun, and it keeps us young, and it keeps us relevant, and it keeps us, you know, up to date and up to par.
Joining me today is Chris Collins, Vice President of Partnerships at Kiiwi Corporation. Chris is an alumni from the CSULB Design Department, and he graduated the year I started teaching here. Welcome in, Chris. To get us started, could you introduce yourself? Who are you, and what do you do?
My name is Chris Collins, actually an alumni here from Cal State Long Beach, graduated in 2007, so quite some years ago. But gosh, I've done a lot of stuff, Max. Some things you and I have worked on together, have a lot of solo projects, and kind of onto some new exciting startup stuff now. But graduated 2007, worked for a footwear design consultancy, Faulkner Design down in Newport Beach, did a ton of stuff there. Started my own design consulting business when I turned 30. It was just my own promise to myself. I was going to own something when I turned 30.
Just going at it.
Yeah, exactly. So did that for about 8 years. Had some really amazing clients, some big footwear brands, and then actually partnered up with another alumni, Jinup Sun, and he and I were doing a lot of work with Epson. So Seiko Epson Corp was one of our major clients. And then, as everyone experienced in the world, COVID hit and unfortunately just demolished some projects.
Right.
So, you know, like everyone had to just figure it out and kind of fend for themselves. Jinup and I kind of had to go our separate ways and do our own thing. So at that time, I actually had a friend contact me who had a startup. Very different way of going about design process thinking and just working in general.
In what way?
So again, I've always been, and I think you and I have talked about this in the past, I've always been like, oh, industrial design, it's a pure, you know, industry, and it's about design and creating physical, tangible objects. And you know, now a lot of those projects were gone, right? Design teams went away, design projects, budgets were cut, et cetera, because of COVID. So I kind of had to make a pivot. And I had this opportunity in front of me. So, okay, I got to think differently about things. And we'll kind of get into more of that. I think we'll touch on that. But, you know, the education and the process of design thinking and problem solving can really lead you to a number of different industries. So that was kind of the beauty. And I used to think so purely of industrial design as hardcore product design and tangible physical things. But, you know, now moving into this realm of, okay, it's about user experience. It's about user interface design. It's about graphic design. It's about flow and marketing and sales, and how do we think through that so it's a great experience for a customer. So kind of worked there for about 6 years, and then now on to my second startup, Kiiwi, which is brand new. We just launched at the end of November here in the city of Long Beach.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Hyper local, all about the community, all about bringing people together. It's a real-time deals app, and it's just something that is, again, another way of thinking about how do people currently get deals? How do people shop? How do people engage with the community around them? How do people find new businesses? So again, putting into a different way of thinking about things versus just I'm a salesman, I'm a marketer, I'm XYZ.
Right.
Using all of those learned skills and understandings of problem, here is a problem, here's a solution. Let's test it. Let's iterate on that, you know? So again,
utilizing that same design process,
exactly,
but applying it to more the business side.
For sure. So really exciting. Obviously a lot of new challenges. I mean, even going from startup, you know, Opt Health was the previous startup. And then now with Kiiwi, again, it's just, there's still so many unique challenges and unique problems to overcome and solve within two different startups. Yeah. So it's exciting. Obviously it's a grind, you know, like anything in life, or if you've heard of or worked at a startup, you're wearing 10 different hats.
Of course.
You know, again, so there's just a lot to manage, and time management becomes essential. Still, how many years later after I've graduated, trying to figure that out, almost 20 years after I've graduated. But again, it's fun, it's exciting, it's being involved in the community. At the end of the day, that's what I love most. I mean, I taught at Cal State for 3 years. I've come back numerous times to do demos, lecture series, etc. You know just as well as I do, just being involved in this community is rewarding. rewarding.
Yeah.
But also just, it's fun, and it keeps us young, and it keeps us relevant, and it keeps us, up to date and up to par. So it's just really fun. And so, that's my long-winded, quick, I guess, background on what I've done and kind of where I'm at now.
That's great. So how does it feel coming back into this space with perspective of both visiting as an instructor, mentor, that sort of thing, but now coming back after having some distance from being a student? What's it like to be back on campus and being involved?
I mean, it's a trip being back on campus and walking around upper campus, by the way, coming into the library where we hardly spent any time, as design students on lower campus. But there's a sense of obviously just memories and, just that nostalgia coming back. I stay somewhat engaged with the design department, but now even with Kiiwi, what we're doing is we're working with ambassadors on campus.
Oh, great.
So we have some, fraternity and sorority individuals that are helping us, spread the word about Kiiwi.
Awesome.
We're part of the farmers market on lower campus now. So again, just being engaged with the students and again, sharing with them what we're working on and how it could benefit them. So the value prop, also another, right? Design teaching, how can we present an idea so that other people can see the value and understand it,
See themselves in it or using it or benefiting by it.
Exactly. So that's been a fun challenge too. And that's something that, again, just brings back that education. And there's no right way to do something, as we all know, but there's 10 different ways to do it. And what's the best way to go about it?
Right.
And again, that's that iterative process. So, kind of back to your question. I mean, it's refreshing. It's nice to come back, and it's nice to gain a different perspective on things and hear from different mindsets and different, sets of eyes and thinking and rationality. So, it's fun. And I always love coming back. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Early on, what kind of shaped the way you see the world creatively?
So I remember when I was teaching, I had this exercise that I would do with the students that, I had everyone stand up in front of the class and present your story of design.
Gotcha.
And I did that kind of two purposes. A, I just love that. It's always fun. Well, how did you come about industrial design? How did you end up here in the senior design studio class at Cal State Long Beach? I love that. But the deeper meaning of it was to get them comfortable and to understand how easy it is to present something when you own it, when it's part of you. Right. And so people kind of, and again, not everyone, some people still just, it's hard and it's stage fright or it's just being comfortable speaking in front of people. But there were numerous times that students would go, wow, that was awesome. And wow, I really liked sharing my story. I go, okay, well, think about that as now your product or whatever it is that you've designed. You created it, you worked on it, you have ownership over it. So, take that and use that to your advantage, have that passion come across, use that so people can feel it. They can get a visceral response from what you've presented. And so again, my story is that my mom was an artist. We did watercolors growing up, always creative things.
Sure.
And then in high school, I'm one of those, I think, very few success stories from high school career day. But we had an architect because I was interested in architecture, worked at a firm when I was a teenager. Industrial design was there, then like a business, whatever it was, make money type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, those all sound interesting. I want to go to college and do something. Well, architecture was my buddy's dad. Cool. Worked for a firm, understood it. Business, well, okay, boring, but sure. We all want to have dreams of making a lot of money one day.
Yeah.
And then I went into the industrial design, and it was someone from Frog Design. And those that don't know, Frog Design is massive, massive agency up in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Tons of work and research and just massive
awards.
Yeah, just incredible agency.
Yeah.
And so I walked in and there was just these sketchbooks everywhere. There was models and there was a scale model of a dental chair and there was a big green, iMac looking monitor type thing that had yellow eyes. And so he got into his presentation and was just talking through industrial design and what is it and why does it exist and how it really solves problems. And that really struck a chord with me. And so my best friend at the time was like, oh my God, I found Cal State has a program and we should go there together. And I was like, yeah, you're my best friend. So let's do it.
So a buddy story.
Yeah. So we both applied. He ended up not coming down here, but I was like, well, it still sounds really cool. And I want to go do that. So I was hooked. I mean, from that career day, I just saw the sketches. I saw the models. I saw what this could be as a profession. And I knew that I was going to go to school and graduate and get into that field. And I remember my stepdad even made a joke or made a bet with me. Hey, I'll give you $1,000. This might sound pompous or whatever, but it's like, hey, I'm going to give you some amount of money when you graduate and you get a job in the career, that in which you studied. And I said, okay, challenge accepted. And so anyways, I graduated and had my job. I was an intern first, and they hired me, right before I had graduated, and very, very fortunate, very, very fortunate. But again, just never look back. And he made due on his bet with me.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, he did. He did. He paid up, and he's here's your graduation / that bet, and okay, thanks. But yeah, and so that's kind of how I came to be in industrial design. And again, there's something so uniquely special about this industry. And as again, I was stubborn while I was in school. I was stubborn as a young professional. Again, just thinking this is product design.
Yeah.
But like anything in life, things happen, stuff comes up, you have to pivot, you have to be fluid, but that's also a unique skill of a designer, is understanding nothing is going to go according to plan. It's never a straight line. You're bouncing all over the place, and, but ultimately, that there's a goal at the end of the road that you have to get to.
So that kind of leads me to what projects maybe did, or events happened that you learned from the most, that maybe weren't successes, but were something that taught you something?
I had a major failure when I had my own consulting business. Lost a major client that was a big chunk of my payroll. And I think really what it ultimately came down to was, we won't get into all the details, but it was an aspect of time management, juggling other projects.
Yeah.
But then it was also just, we got to a point where some new managers came into the picture. And I think we had a flow that worked for the initial management team, and they understood the designs, they understood the aesthetic that we were going for.
Sure.
And then new management came in, and they just weren't aligned. And so you get to a point where, again, at what point and what threshold do you say, I'm going to stick to my guns as the creative? That's why you've hired me, right? Because I have an outside perspective and I have a skill set, blah, 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 blah.
That's what you're paying us for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you get to a point too where you butt heads maybe too many times, and you have to make a decision, I think, on both sides. Well, this just isn't working. And we kind of got to that point. I didn't want to let them go as a client because, again, it was cool, and we were doing footwear design, and it was a big company, and the money was great in a sense of it was, added a comfort level. But then again, it's just at the end of the day, they saw things differently. I saw things differently. So we just ultimately got to a point where, hey, we're going to give you X to kind of close this out, and let's just go our separate ways. And I said, okay, that's about as
amicable of a divorce as you can have when it comes to a client.
Exactly. Well, I not without, I definitely was trying and well, no, you guys still should pay this, and it's, again, that gets into contracts and all that other stuff, but they're a very big company, and I'm a guy. So, okay, guys. Yep. That sounds good. I'll take that.
It's better than, I'm getting nothing and you'll have to take us to court to get anything else.
Exactly. So in hindsight, right. Yeah, exactly. Something's better than nothing. And again, it's a learning experience.
You mentioned the phrase informed intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that feels like it only develops after years of experience. What does informed intuition mean to you?
So this is kind of one of the things that I tried to, again, it's even a hard concept to teach. You can say it, and then you can kind of talk through what it means, yes, to you as an individual, and some can either accept that and kind of mold that into what they think. But I still even use it to this day with, some of our junior marketing girls on our team, where everything in life is wearing off on us, good, bad, or indifferent, right? Every day we experience things and circumstances outside of our control and, outside influence. So all of that leads up to informed intuition. Yes, something, and sometimes you're going to get that just over time. But I also think that in school, you could still have a sense of informed intuition.
Sure.
And so again, but you have to be open to it and receptive to it, to say, I am going to accept everything that I'm looking at and everything that's in the media and, everything that is in my school and my student, or, my peers are doing. So all of that should be influencing us to some capacity. Again, good, bad, or indifferent, it's influencing us. So therefore, I would say, okay, your skill now is in looking at all those things and then pulling that together to say, this serves me, that doesn't. Yeah. This also serves the objective of the project. Hey, this gives me a unique perspective that other person doesn't have that's trying to bid on this project, whatever. There's a ton of different ways you could take it. But I love the term, by the way. It's just informed intuition. We all have intuition, clearly.
Sure.
But what is informing that? Yeah. And to be open and receptive to that, to use that as a skill anytime in life, later on in life, bidding for projects, presenting an idea, designing an idea, whatever it is. I want more people to say, hey, let me be open to that. Let me be receptive to that.
So I've got a question.
Yeah.
As a formerly stubborn person, how do you encourage, whether it's younger designers or people you collaborate, to be open to the informed part of intuition?
I think, very unfortunate, we'll get sad for a second, but I had a very, very good friend pass away back in October, was hit by a car on a bike ride. You guys may have seen that story in the news, but Walt Whitman has that quote, "Be curious, not judgmental." Okay. So I think approaching life to be curious and not sit there and judge or have your own preconceived notion about something or anything. Well, why not ask a question? Or why not be open to, there are different perspectives in life. There are different ways to go in a career. But you can still use your education, your teaching. So just, I think that my informed intuition, kind of theme, followed up with that quote by Walt Whitman, I think kind of just says it best. Just ask questions, be curious, don't judge, don't be stubborn, don't be set in your ways. Everything in life has 1,000 different ways to approach it, or 1,000 different perspectives.
Yeah.
So I think.
So considering you're dabbling in the borders of what your former career, you thought it limited you to, so you're opening your mind. What's inspiring you right now outside of traditional design?
I mean, look, obviously the I guess, I don't know what funny statement am I trying to look for here, but basically the elephant in the room is that AI is everywhere now, right? AI is informing people. AI is, creating skill sets for people that they might not have had before. I mean, it's doing everything, right? But I think even in that, to be, again, curious about AI, don't judge it. Don't say, I'm never going to touch it. Sure. Or, I use it for everything. Okay, be curious, dabble in it, understand it, right? Before you form that, hey, I'm going to use this or I'm not going to use it.
The worst thing is know thy enemy. If that's the case, if you decide that that's
for sure,
that's the result.
For sure. Yeah. So for me, I think it's using AI as a tool. I'm not a great writer. I think I have good thoughts and ideas, but for me, one of my struggles is it's hard for me to formulate a very clear, coherent, statement or sentence out of those thoughts. So using AI as a tool to gather a bunch of brainstormy, brain dumpy type of stuff. And then it's like, oh, okay. And now that gives me something that I can further edit so it doesn't sound like a robot created it.
Right.
So it's
kind of helping to add structure.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that's influencing me. I would just say, and again, now that we're doing a lot more sales and marketing type stuff with, Kiiwi, with the new startup, is that I need to understand other people's perspectives and their value props. And so again, using things to aggregate, external factors or other businesses or other marketing, jargons or slogans and campaigns, it's just nice to have these tools that make it a little bit easier and faster to get things done.
If you're using it in an efficiency sake, but you're still controlling what goes into it, using your process, your intuition, if you will, rather than just letting it be about results.
That's exactly correct. And again, I think where I always come back to is that, again, it's just a tool. All of the skills we've learned in industrial, they're just tools, right? Yeah. Nothing is, this is me. It doesn't define you. So again, remember when we were in school, people were amazing at, Rhino or whatever 3D program. And I think they kind of locked into that.
Yeah.
And when in our age of, again, I know I'm a little bit younger than you.
A little bit.
But, but you know what I'm getting at, where it's like some people during those times graduated and they were just CAD jockeys, CAD monkeys, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm so good at it. Oh God, I kind of pigeonholed myself. But so again, understanding that it's just a tool, it doesn't define you.
Right.
And always having that level-headedness about it. So that's where I always go, look, I use that to help organize my thought, categorize things, again, add structure. But I also know that I can't just send this out because that's not who I am as a person. I want to make this sound real. I want to make it sound like it does actually come from me, a human being. Also, I'm learning that in marketing and sales and just pitching things, personalized, authentic, genuine connection clearly is going to go farther. And people are receptive now. Oh, that's an AI generated email.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get them all the time, every day, all day long, right? Generated text, email, whatever the case may be. We see ads now. We're like, oh man, that's an AI ad. So again, just having that level-headedness, that informed intuition, you understand that it's a tool. Don't let it define you. But again, use it to your benefit. So,
yeah. So I'm going to tap into, you have had various career directions and have not only tried a lot of things, but you've had success at several things. Now that you're 20 years plus or minus in, what does success look like to you now, and how has that kind of changed over time?
Again, right, when we're young growing up, success is money and things and material stuff. Look, sure, yes, I would love to have a big house and have, some of the toys and have freedoms. Again, right, at the end of the day, that's all that cash or money affords us. It's more freedom,
right?
Whatever, more time, more freedom. But I think really at the end of the day, and I have always gone back to this, even when I was a kid, teenager, when I was in college, I remember sitting there looking at, Yves Bahar, some of these other brand designers, right? That it's like really at the end of the day, I just want my name to mean something. And whether that's a small micro, influence, or there is something bigger that's on the horizon, I don't know. I don't really care. But I think that if I can give back, if I can be a part of improving someone else's life, whether that's through something I've created and designed, or again, a mentorship, and I've given some words of wisdom that someone has been, oh my God, that's the aha light bulb moment. I've changed my own course direction. Which again, teaching gave that, I really think I can look back on the 3 years that I taught 6 different studio classes, and I could say, 15, 20 students that I, still kind of converse with and communicate that would go, wow, yes, you and I, and the way in which we went about critiquing and discussing design, you've altered my career path. So that right there, that's amazing. I love that. I love the ability that I had to influence, young designers and to help them see things differently. So I would say, success is still kind of that. I would love for my name to mean something, that it's influenced people along the way, but that I've also created something that helped people's lives or added joy to their lives, or again, just made them understand their city better, or again, engage with their community in a different way. So yeah, I would say that really at the end of the day is I would love to hang my hat on that.
Great. Yeah. And I would have to say you definitely have continued to make your mark both on the design community, especially here at Long Beach. But, I think that seeps out as we connect with designers that, at whatever level they're at, they move out, and now that goes with them. So from that vantage point, both seeing the classroom, the industry, what do you think is most needed in design over the next 10 years?
That's a great question. It's so hard. Honestly, Max, at this point, I think it's so hard to see farther out than a year. It's right?
Crazy, isn't
it's
it?
just insane. I think my fear, let me touch on this first. My fear is that AI, unfortunately, is going to drastically reduce design team size.
Sure.
I'm worried about that. It's unfortunate. I'm glad that I graduated and went to school without it, to be completely honest with you, that we still have hard skills and there's some things, and not to say that current students don't have that. You guys are still teaching that. But I think that instead of a team of 10, 15, 20 designers, you maybe have 3 or 5 designers now, and one's managing, and then you have AI input type of people, and they kind of maybe do some refinement for a second or third iteration or whatever.
Right.
So I'm worried about that. People, I think, that are maybe in school currently should look to really understand AI and the strengths, again, as a tool, not that this is a solution or it defines you, but there's design skill AI, there's marketing AI, there's video AI, there's voiceover. I mean, there's so many different AI programs, but again, I think you have to be able to be versed in it. You have to be comfortable with it. But again, don't let it define you, and don't let it become the crutch. Right. So you still have to have your sensibilities, your own informed intuition, right? We go back to that. So yeah, I like I said, it's more of a fear. And then at the same time, I just think it's here. It's going to be here for a lot of years to come. So how can we utilize it,
right,
without it letting it dictate or control us?
So would you say kind of making sure that if we're diminishing people in teams, that you round your skill set to make yourself most able to be on that team and be useful in many different aspects, maybe?
Yeah. And here's just one other piece of advice. I mean, for those that are listening, I mean, yes, that being the case. So make sure that you're relevant, you understand the different aspects of AI, but you're also rounded out with hard skills.
Yeah.
But most importantly, just because I know this firsthand, but also I just know the world kind of moves in that direction, is, the age-old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So just continue to network, continue to be in the right rooms, continue to be, out there, again, asking those questions. Be curious, not judgmental. Don't say, oh, that's beneath me, or I'm not going to go to that because whatever, XYZ excuse. So be open, be curious, meet people, talk with them, gain different perspectives, inform your own intuition, and use that to your advantage when you graduate and when you get out into the young professional world. And again, don't let things define you. Be your own individual and add those skills because you're an individual. That's why people want you on their design team, right?
Right.
You align with our, core values. You align with our energy and how we operate. You're a cool person. We want you here, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So,
Chris, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been super special having you not only as part of this, but as somebody who is part of my teaching career. We've shared a lot in this location. So it's great to have you on. Thank you for sharing your time, your experience, and thanks for answering questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Max. Thank you, the rest of the team. It's awesome, man. I'm just super excited, and thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I'm really, really happy to see where the rest of the thing goes.
Awesome. Great.